old Nan said they had Stark blood in them, going back hundreds of years, but they did not look like Starks to Bran. The thoughts of Bran Stark on the Karstarks. A Game of Thrones Chapter 53, Bran 6. House Karstark of Karhold is one of the most standout noble houses of the North. What makes them so different from the other northern houses is that they were founded as a cadet branch of their overlords, the Starks of Winterfell, and are among their principal bannermen. The Karstark's blazon is a white sunburst on black, and their motto is the Son of the Winter. Most sources suggest that House Karstark came to be around 700 years before Aegon's conquest, making them one of the newer houses of the North. The Karstarks trace their lineage to Karlon Stark, a younger son of an unknown Lord of Winterfell. Karlon is said to have subdued a rebellious lord and was granted lands for his service. The stronghold he built near the Grey Cliffs was named Karl's Hold. The name then evolved into Karhold over the centuries, and the cadet line that ruled there eventually became known as the Karstarks, merging both names of their founder. This is not as common as you might think, with most cadet branches keeping the original family name, with the distinction coming from their location. For example, House Harlaw of Harradin's Hill being one of the many cadet branches of the main House Harlaw line. Some cadet branches changed their names entirely. For example, the infamous House Blackfire, a cadet branch of House Targaryen. Thus, House Karstark veers closer to this method of naming. However, it is likely at one time early in their history they were known as House Stark of Karhold. Given that House Stark and Karstark are distant kin throughout the centuries, marriages between the Karstarks and their Stark lords helped maintain these close ties between the houses. Among these unions was a Margaret Karstark who wed a Bernard Stark, a second son of Lord Benjen Stark, and bore him 3 sons, and Alys Karstark who was married to Lord Brandon Stark and had 3 children, and a Larissa Karstark who wed Artos Stark, grandson of Alys, and gave him 2 sons. We know very little of their history between their formation and the downfall of House Targaryen, but what we can say is they seem to have been very loyal bannermen to House Stark, being one of the main houses to fight for them when Eddard Stark called his banners during Robert's rebellion, with Lord Rickard Karstark seemingly present at key battles, such as the Trident. Most Karstarks are big, fierce men, bearded and long-haired, brown hair and blue-grey eyes, similar in kind to the appearance of House Stark, given that House Karstark are Stark descendants. Lord Rickard Karstark and his daughter Alys have been described as having long, narrow faces. We cannot say if these traits are common among the house or limited to Rickard and his children. We are kin, Stark and Karstark, Lord Rickard Stark to Robb Stark, King in the North. A Storm of Swords Chapter 20, Catelyn 3. House Karstark being one of House Stark's most important bannermen, of course answer Robb Stark when he called the banners of the North at the arrest of Lord Eddard Stark in King's Landing on the death of King Robert Baratheon, where Eddard is accused of treason. The Karstark men are led by Lord Rickard himself and his 3 sons, Harrison, Eddard and Torren. They march to Winterfell with 300 horsemen and nearly 2,000 infantrymen. The men of House Karstark make up a significant portion of the Northern Cavalry unit and are thus a vital part of the army. When the host moves south, the men of the Karhold are quartered in the Drunkard's Tower at Moat Cailin. Catelyn Stark cautions Robb that he must not appear uncertain before stern men such as Roose Bolton and Rickard Karstark, given the influence and respect they have with the other northern lords. While at the Twins, when the Stark host divides, Harrison leads the Karstark spears alongside Lord Bolton's infantry, while Rickard and his younger sons continue with Robb as part of the cavalry marching on Riverrun to break the siege. Eddard and Torren ride among the 30 young noblemen who accompany Robb Stark in the Battle of the Whispering Wood. Both fought well, but are slain by Sir Jaime Lannister during the fighting. Elsewhere, Tyrion Lannister notes the Karstark sunburst among the northern banners arrayed against him at the Green Fork. He joins Sir Gregor Clegane's charge against the double crescent of the Karstark spearmen, who wait behind tall oaken shields bearing the sigil of Karhold. Harrison is captured in the battle and later taken to Harrenhal. While the loss of the Green Fork was expected and planned for, the loss of his younger sons at the Whispering Wood was too much for Rickard to bear. Stricken by grief, Rickard longs for vengeance, but Jaime Lannister remains too valuable a prisoner to sacrifice in such a way. After the victory at the Battle of the Camps, Catelyn sees Lord Karstark praying in Riverrun's Godswood beside Robb and other followers of the old gods. He appears gaunt and hollow-eyed, a man consumed by sorrow. Despite his anguish, Rickard stays loyal and is the second lord after the great Jon Umber to hail Robb Stark as king in the north after Eddard Stark's execution. This is my work. He dies at my word. He must die by my hand. For that much I thank you, but for naught else. The blood of the first men flows in my veins as much as yours, boy. You will do well to remember that. I was named for your grandfather. I raised my banners against King Aerys for your father, against King Joffrey for you. At Oxcross and the Whispering Wood and the Battle of the Camps, I rode beside you, and I stood with Lord Eddard on the Trident. We are kin. Stark and Karstark, Robb Stark and Rickard Karstark before his execution. A Storm of Swords, Chapter 20, Catelyn 3. The Karstark are among the northern families with recent blood ties to the Hornwoods through the female line, making them one of several houses with a strong claim or interest in the Hornwood inheritance following the death of Lord Alys Hornwood and his only son Darin. Yet, given the War of the Five Kings, this issue does not seem to take precedence for them. Lord Rickard Karstark rides with the now King Robb Stark during the campaign in the Westerlands. At the Battle of Oxcross, he earns distinction by driving his lance through Sir Stefford Lannister's chest, and afterwards conducts raids along the coast. In King's Landing, Tyrion Lannister, serving as Hand of the King in his father's place, attempts to negotiate the exchange of Harrison Karstark and Sir Willis Manderly for young Willem Lannister, but the talks collapse. Harrison eventually gains his freedom anyway when Harrenhal falls to Lord Roose Bolton. Bolton then assigns him to the host under Robert Glover and Helman Tallheart, tasked with taking the town of Duskendale to the east. During the fighting at Duskendale, Harrison Karstark is again taken prisoner, this time by the forces of Lord Randall Tarley, and is confined at Maidenpool. Some Karstark footmen who survived the battle eventually regroup with Roose Bolton's host. Lord Rickard Karstark returns from the Westerlands to Riverrun with Robb Stark's army, only to learn that Catelyn Stark had released Jaime Lannister in a desperate bid to recover her lost daughters. Believing himself robbed of vengeance owed for his slain sons, Rickard, joined by 7 of his men, murder the captive squires Tion Frey and Willem Lannister, killing 2 Tully guards and wounding 3 Umbers in the fighting. At the same time, he dispatches his cavalry across the Riverlands with orders to hunt Jaime, having promised the hand of his daughter Alys to whichever man brings him the Kingslayer's head. Robb Stark condemns the killings as treason and sentences Rickard to death, carrying out the beheading himself. In his final words, Rickard reminds the king of his house's long loyalty to Winterfell and curses him as a kinslayer, citing the ancient blood shared between the Starks and Karstarks. The death of Rickard means his heir is the currently captured Harrison, the now Lord of Karhold. Perhaps unaware of the fate of their lord, the Karstark riders scour the Crownlands and Riverlands in search for Jaime Lannister. Jaime is ultimately seized not by the Karstarks but by the brave companions and delivered to Roose Bolton at Harrenhal. To shield him from Karstark vengeance, Bolton orders Stillshanks Walton to escort the Kingslayer safely to King's Landing. Some Karstark infantry remain with Roose Bolton following the fighting at the fords of the Trident, marching with him to the Twins for the wedding of Lord Emil Tully to Rosalind Frey. During the Red Wedding, mailed northernmen in shaggy fur cloaks, likely Boltons and Karstarks, take part in the massacre, helping to cut down loyal Stark men such as Small John Umber, while it was Roose Bolton who personally kills Robb Stark. With the new Lord of Karhold, Harrison Karstark, held captive by the Lannisters, Rickard Karstark's uncle, Arnolf Karstark, Castellan of Karhold, declares for King Stannis Baratheon. Arnolf Karstark is described as a gaunt and crooked old man, his body bent with age so markedly that his left shoulder sits half a foot higher than his right. He walks with the aid of a blackthorn cane. His neck is thin and scrawny, and his squinty grey eyes peer out beneath a nearly bald head, with only a few white hairs clinging on. Arnulf's beard is now ragged and forked, streaked with grey and white, and his teeth are malted yellow. House Karstark under Arnulf become the only major northern house to openly support Stannis' claim. The king even contemplates rewarding Arnulf with Winterfell for his loyalty. In truth, Arnulf is secretly conspiring with House Bolton. His schemes aim to provoke the Lannisters into executing Harrison, clearing the line of succession, after which he intends to wed his son Cregan to Rickard's daughter Alys. Once Stannis' army reaches Winterfell, Arnulf plans to betray him. Alys, aware of this, escapes Karhold before this can unfold and rides to the wall, seeking the protection of Jon Snow, the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. She reveals the full plot to him. Jon thwarts Arnulf's ambitions by arranging a marriage between Alys and Sigorn, Magnar of the Thenns, thus securing the Karstark succession. Should Harrison die, Karhold would pass legally to Alys and the newly established House Thenn. The coat of arms of this new House Thenn combine a bronze disc to honour the Thenn people with the red flames to honour the devotees of R'hllor. The sigil echoes the sunburst of House Karstark. Some argue this was intentional, given the connection to Alys, with House Thenn being a kind of unofficial cadet branch of House Karstark, but the likeness may very well be coincidental. When Cregan Karstark reaches Castle Black, expecting to claim his bride, he finds her already betrothed and is thrown into an ice cell. Jon offers him a choice: take the Black and be absolved of all charges, or await King Stannis' return and face execution for treason. Jon also has ravens sent to Deepwood Motte in an effort to warn Stannis of Arnulf's duplicity. Elsewhere, a captive Theon Greyjoy witnesses Arnulf and Hother Umber being hosted by Ramsay Bolton at the Dreadfort. Arnulf later joins Stannis at the Crofters' village, bringing 400 spears, 40 archers, and a dozen mounted lances to the king's encampment. Stannis learns of Arnulf's plot thanks to the letter sent by Jon Snow. He summons Arnulf, his sons Arthur, and his 3 grandsons to his presence under the pretext of breaking fast. Stannis' knights surround and arrest the Karstarks, injuring 2 of the grandsons in the process. Stannis offers the Karstarks a choice: a swift death in return for cooperation, or being burned alive.